their fancy uniforms. And remember what got you. Focus on the fundamentals. We've gone over time and time again. And most important, don't get caught up thinking about winning or losing this game. If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential, to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners.
This is the New Hampshire High School Basketball Show.
This is a second coming. This is a call to arms. Your finest hour won't be wasted.
The New Hampshire High School Basketball Show is brought to you by the New Hampshire State Liquor Commission's Division of Enforcement.
Right now, it's not about talent, it's about heart. It's about who can go out there and play the hardest, who can go out there and play the smartest. Now, they've been here before, so they're not going to give it to us. We got to go out there and we got to take it.
And now your hosts, Pete Terrier.
But I have a question, though. Those 2 foul shots at the end of the game, did you miss them? Or did you miss them?
Not exactly a shoot question, is it?
And Dave Haley from NHSportsPage.com.
All season long, we played our game. Right now, you're playing theirs. When we step on the floor, every second that clock is ticking, we are pedal to the metal. We run the ball. We pressure the ball. And most importantly, we control the tempo of the game.
Well, a very cold morning to you, and I hope you're doing okay with trying to stay warm. It is the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show, our first show of the 2014 part of the season. Pete Terrier, along with Dave Haley, NHSportsPage.com. Dave, what was the temperature? I know you come from the seacoast, a lot of flooding and stuff yesterday after the storm, but what was the temperature you saw when you woke up and started to drive over here this morning?
-5.
-5.
Over in the seacoast. I was thinking of, were you at Libby's with me when all the BG and Bedford parents were over there? And
No.
A couple of years ago, before one of the championship games, and Mr. Caparel, James Caparel, the elder, was telling me that he listened to the show every morning under the covers with headphones on so his wife could keep sleeping. I really would rather switch places with anybody else who's under the covers right now listening to this program.
You wanted to do it on location from your bed under the covers?
Oh, Jesus.
Well, it's not that bad around
no
here
wind,
in Manchester. Jen Wells says she's got all of 2 degrees, so above zero at our WGIR studios in Manchester, where I live in Goffstown. I jumped in my car in Goffstown, it was 3. I live right on the Manchester line. By the time I got here to the radio station, it was -7. John Kesty, our videographer from NHSportsPage.com, who's filming the show, he says that he had, -10 when he woke up, and then when he was driving in, it got down to -15 in some of the valleys between New Boston and here. So
yeah.
I wonder what it's like. Maybe you can get some text from your correspondents in the North Country. Pretty much the only teams who played basketball last night, and we'll get to the scoreboard, the abbreviated scoreboard,
very brief,
in just a bit. But love to get a report from a Buddy Trask or someone up there in Colebrook, or anybody else in the North Woods.
But he doesn't know how to text.
He doesn't know how to text.
No,
well, I know you got connections up there.
I do, but I don't know.
I would love to see how cold it's going to be this morning.
I'll try to get Sam Natty and Trevor.
So you say that there are a lot of cancellations, obviously, because of the snow. I was planning on going out to Exeter to take in that Trinity Exeter game, which would have been a good one. That game's been moved to today at 5 p.m. So if you want to go see Trinity and Exeter, go check out that game. It starts at 5 o'clock at Exeter High School. But you say there were 4 games played last night?
Yeah, 4 games.
Well, why don't we hit the scoreboard?
Justin McIsaac said it's up to -4 in Dover.
Wow.
So there you go. There's your update there. See? Power of technology. Yeah, you want to... Well, come on. Do the whole thing. You got to do a whole... you got to do your whole scenario about even though it's 2014, don't buy booze for underage kids. And even if the Patriots are playing the Chiefs or whatever.
You could do this. If one day I wasn't able to make it in, you can handle it.
Not as well. Certainly not as well.
Dave Haley's Friday Night Scoreboard brought to you by our friends at the New Hampshire Liquor Commission's Division of Enforcement and that Buyers Beware campaign, reminding all adults that it is against the law to provide alcohol to minors, even if it's below zero and you have no heat and all you got is a little brandy snifter.
Yeah.
That might be the one exception that they make.
Yeah.
If it's survival.
Sure, survival. Absolutely. If you're in an igloo someplace. All right, so today is a huge day for Corey Gadwa. Who is Corey Gadwa, you ask? Corey Gadwa plays for Groveton. He had 26 points last night in a 64-35 win over Lisbon, and it's a huge day because he, at this moment, is the only person that I know how many points he had last night. So Corey Gadwa, who is a freshman at Groveton, is going to be a very good player. He played in an 8th grader last year, had 26 points. Mark Collins' team is getting a lot better, and they beat Lisbon 64-35. My buddy Sam Natty's team cannot score. They can't score points. So that's going to be a problem as they go forward. But he's working with them. Hopkinton with a huge win over Bow, 70-41. I hope by the end of the show, because I believe these coaches send in stats to us, we should have some numbers. But Hopkinton, Dave Chase's team rolls on 70-41. They remain undefeated. Profile with a 42-36 win over Gorham on the road. Paul Greenlaw is undefeated as well. And our friend Buddy Trask goes up to Division III and beats White Mountains 49-41 Colebrook with a win there. And Buddy and I spoke last week, and he basically threatened me if I kept saying that his team was good. They are a ways away, and he wants to make sure that I make that clear to everybody. But they're going to be pretty good. They got a guard by the name of Creed Cooney who's coming back on that team. I think is going to help them out.
And you mentioned Justin McIsaac texting in about the -4 in Dover. There was also a game that was going to be played last night. They did not postpone the game. BG at Dover.
I know.
And they made it through most of the JV game, and then they started looking skyward and not wondering whether it was going to start snowing again or if it was going to rain or whatever. But it was actually raining inside the gym, the Ollie Adams gym in Dover, and they postponed that game. The game never even started. Actually, they cut it off, I think, with 4 minutes to go in the JV game. So BG drove all the way out there.
Yeah, I know. I saw a Mignol picture of him, on Twitter.
And there was a leak in the roof, maybe some kind of like ventilation system leak, and they had to call the game off. So they're going to play it next Friday night instead. But imagine Miggs is a warm and cuddly guy as it is.
Sometimes,
imagine him.
Sometimes he is, yeah.
Imagine him having to drive all the way out there and get all dressed up and then have no place to go.
Yeah. Because
they were like literally like ready to come out onto the floor.
I know. It's crazy. We haven't seen this stuff before. By the way, Paul Greenlaw of Profile tells me it's 21 below in Littleton.
Wow.
There you go.
Way to go, Coach Greenlaw.
There you go. Yeah, he's undefeated. -15 in Keene from Gen Check. All right, we're getting them from all over the place. So yeah, I saw that Justin McIsaac was doing that game, and Dover's down this year, and so he was asking me questions about those two going into it. But that's got to be really frustrating. That's got to be really, 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 really frustrating. And it's freezing cold, so I mean, you're out on a night like that for no reason. You just basically drove up there, looked at a wood floor, and left.
Yeah. And you were pretty much assured of a win going out there if you're Bishop Girton. I mean, Dover is really struggling.
Yeah, you kind of
They
are.
did get a win though in the holiday tournament.
Who'd they beat?
Timberlane.
Oh yeah, well, it's gonna be a big game for Timberlane.
Unfortunately, it doesn't count in the standings. But at least confidence-wise,
do we look around Division I and think Timberlane has a chance to win a game this year?
Well, I think some people were pointing to Dover.
Yeah.
And saying, hey, they might be able to beat Dover this year, but apparently maybe it's not their year. Maybe 2013 wasn't their year. Maybe 2014 is.
I don't think 2012 was either. How much they lose by, do you remember?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Have we ever in the first 5 minutes show been breaking down Timberlane scores?
I don't think so.
No. We had a caller from Timberlane last year, Plastow. He was great.
Yeah, I remember that.
There you go.
I'm glad because remember yesterday it was about midday. We were trying to figure out if we were going to cover a game last night with the video camera for NHSportsPage.com, and I had mentioned a couple of games that I really wanted to see that Winnicott Nashua South game. I talked about the Trinity Exeter game. And then the only one that I knew that was supposedly still going on was BG Dover. Imagine me, John Kesty, driving out to Dover.
I thought of that.
And we live both in the Manchester area.
Yeah.
John lives in New Boston. I live in Goffstown. So making the trek to the Seacoast and then having that game get canceled.
Yeah.
I blame Roger Brown from the New Hampshire Union Leader because so far this year, and he's a football guy, has the website nhfootballreport.com. Great guy, good friend of the program, has hosted the program on your behalf on a couple of occasions in the past couple of years. And he's now doing the basketball beat for the UL. And so I see him earlier this year at Trinity Central, the game that wasn't, the game that started and got postponed because of the wet floor.
I love that we have 500 YouTube views for that video.
I know,
it's like
it's
3
hilarious.
minutes long.
It's hilarious. So Roger's at that game. And then I'm at that holiday tournament game in the Queen City where the Connecticut team, the Hartford, Connecticut team, Weaver, Connecticut,
yeah.
didn't even show up for the game. They actually showed up late. They canceled the game 5 minutes after they canceled the game because they were late. They showed up and they played Merrimack anyways, and then Merrimack beat them. But Roger Brown at that game.
Oh,
As a matter of fact, I mentioned to Roger, I said, Roger, maybe we got to get you off the hoop beat because that's 2 times I've seen you at hoop games in the last couple of weeks, and both games have been postponed because of various reasons. And now this.
Was he in the grassy knoll in Dallas?
Yeah, I think so.
That fateful day in November?
He was at the game last night in
young
Dover.
Roger Brown?
He's at the game in Dover last night.
He's got to be so annoyed. I just saw him at the gym the other day. We were chatting, and he's got to be, because this, he's a football guy. He's got to be like, come on, we never cancel this for that.
And so I tweet out to him last night. I said, Roger, strike 3, you're out.
Yeah.
And I cited all those 3 occasions, and then he came back at me with a tweet that said, oh, it's now 4 because he was at a game at Manchester Memorial, and there was a wet floor. I think that was probably I
think it was Weston and Memorial.
The game where they moved the bleachers back because it was wet, but that wasn't because of a leaky roof. It was because of people trekking through the gym with wet boots because there was snow that day.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah, it's bizarre. Yeah.
It is really weird.
Yeah, at least yeah, I don't know. I felt bad for all the participants over there in Dover because I know how cold it was last night. It was one of those stay in your house and so forth, and I was trying to figure out how to play Allison's new Wii video game, the Wii U or whatever they bought her. But yeah, I felt bad for everybody. McIsaac was out there, and from Mignol. God, he must have been so mad. He must have been so mad. standing there looking at the floor, and then say, "No, I gotta go home."
Well, it's easier for the Dover kids, because they're 5 minutes away from being home in most cases. For BG, you got to get back on that cold bus,
yeah,
and then drive all the way back.
Yeah.
And you didn't. What about the delay here? The layoff. You talk about teams on a bye or, whatever, these teams that haven't really played because one series goes longer and the other team's getting rusty. This is the holiday break anyway.
Yeah.
So the last games that were played were pretty much,
Monday night I was at Guilford, as I think I told you. I saw Guilford Prospect Mountain. But yeah, most of them were done Sunday. Portsmouth played in that tournament on Sunday. So yeah, you're absolutely right. And during the preseason, they're always playing preseason games. Nobody's scrimmaging, obviously, between. So yeah, these teams have been off for maybe, some teams maybe for 8-9 days.
And think about how long it's been since they've been in school. I mean, did they go to school at all the week of Christmas? Christmas was on a Wednesday, so Christmas Eve, Tuesday. Were they in school that Monday? Probably not. Maybe they were.
Maybe they were.
Maybe it was a
Monday.
half day.
Yeah.
But I mean, parents got to be going crazy too.
Yeah, get out.
I mean,
of my
you know
house.
how it is with daycare and you got to work.
A lot of all-time scores being set on World of Warcraft or whatever.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like talk about stir crazy. I bet you there'll be a lot of people out today, even though it's going to be cold. A lot of people out sledding today.
Yeah. Did you see the NHL game out in Ann Arbor?
Yeah. Which is awesome.
100,000 people.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool though.
And the fact that it snows during the game.
Yeah.
It's just cool. It's just really, really cool.
It is cool.
I like the Winter Classic. I remember when it was in Boston a few years ago. Bruins won that one. There was snow that game. We've also had games where they weren't too sure about the ice. I remember a couple of years ago, there was a game. The game's always supposed to be during the day on New Year's Day.
Yeah.
I think they had to move it to night because it was like raining or the ice wasn't solid enough. It wasn't firm enough. So they pushed it back to night.
They want to do it in L.A. next year.
Yeah. No, this year. They're
doing it this year?
They're doing this thing called the Stadium Series, and they got 5 games besides the game that was already played on New Year's Day. Yeah, I know you're looking at me like
I know.
I don't like that idea.
I think it's just the whole when something's good, you have to beat it into the ground and stuff it down people's throats until they're sick of it. It's like you just want to make it more of a novelty. You just don't want to do this all the time.
Yeah, they're doing a game in L.A. It's the who is it? Is it the Anaheim Ducks against the Kings?
Against the Kings, yeah.
Which I don't know how they're going to do that because it's not cold enough in L.A. And this is like later in the season too, so it's not cold enough to sustain ice. I'm sure they have some kind of super cooling system or whatever, but it's going to be an outdoor Winter Classic game, if you will, in L.A., Southern California. The Winter Classic comes to Southern California.
Yeah, and
doesn't sound right.
Super Bowl in New York.
Yeah, and they're also worried about that. And look, I don't care about that. I'm not going to go to the game. I just watch it on TV. If the Patriots are in the game by chance, which I think could happen, last couple weeks ago, you were like off of the Pats.
I said that's not what I said, and we have the film to verify it. I said if they lose to the Ravens, I'm out. They did not lose to the Ravens.
Oh, okay.
So come on.
All right.
You're just mad because I said you lost like the game of knockout to a bunch of 9-year-olds. It was a joke, everybody. I was writing a column. You got to put a few yucks in there.
that was
Pete Terry did not lose to a 9-year-old. That we know of.
Your post-holiday
I just love all the coaches.
Column.
I love all the coaches that were coming back to me. They're like, I saw Pete shooting jumpers.
Yeah, he cannot shoot. But if they move that Super Bowl game, I doubt they will. Just play the game.
No, they're gonna
regardless
move it. No
of
way.
what they're talking about. If the weather's bad, we might move it. We might move it to Monday. We might move it to Tuesday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've got like a contingency plan. They've got a contingency plan in place where they could potentially move the Super Bowl.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, they could either move it up, I think, to like Saturday night, or move it as far out as Tuesday. Is that right, Jen? Did you see that? Or are you just like looking at me like I don't know what the hell you're talking about? I thought you were a news chick and you're supposed to know what's going on. She just knows
news stuff.
She news. Well, the Super Bowl is a big news story. What are you guys going to be talking about on New Hampshire Today with Jack Heath on Monday, February 3rd, February 4th? You'll probably be talking about the Super Bowl.
You're right.
Hopefully, one that says the Patriots won the Super Bowl. That would be awesome. But this is the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back and want to talk a little bit about some of the early season impressions, the surprises, and maybe the disappointment so far in the season, the way we see it. And it's been very choppy, and not everybody's played the same amount of games. Some teams have only played one regular season game, so it's kind of hard to judge. But we do have the holiday tournaments and things like that. And then at 8:35, we'll bring on Jeff Holmes, the head coach of the Exeter Blue Hawks. I think one of the early season, I don't want to say surprises, but
no, they're
stories.
Good. Yeah,
they're an early season story. They're very, very good. They made it all the way to the championship game of the Queen City Invitational, lost to Central. We'll talk to Jeff Holmes about the Exeter Blue Hawks when a little bit, about 15 minutes from now on the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show, News Radio 610 and 96.7. Well, certainly one of the guys that was in the limelight last week was our own Dave Haley, N8sportspage.com, Guilford High School class of 1990, who just told me off the air that Chip Veazey, the head coach of the Golden Eagles, must have reached out to you or something, knew that you were going to be at the game against Prospect Mountain on Monday night. Was that a holiday tournament game or was that a regular season game?
Championship.
So it was a championship game, the holiday tournament that Guilford takes part in, and asked you to speak to the team?
No, he didn't ask me. I kind of told him I was going to talk to him, and he stepped right aside. Chip and I talked for a while before the game. No, I just gave the boys a little profanity-laced pep talk before the game, and they shot out to a 21-11 lead. So
did he
it worked.
Did he intro you as a state runner-up in Class M?
I think they know who. I think most of them knew who I was. I was laughing. I told you off the air that Max Triano was trying to ask me about his football stats. I'm like, Max, I got it. And he goes, he knows who I am. He's kinda funny. I know who you all are.
So did they roll out the red carpet for you?
No, come on. I got to, actually, it was fun. I got to stand with Steve McDonough, who's the coach of Laconia, the Laconia Sachem. So we stood together the whole game and kind of went through, the whole game and the Lakes Region teams and stuff like that. That's how you learn, is you talk to people. You know what I mean? You can't just sit there and go watch games. You got to talk to everybody too and get people's opinions on different teams and different players. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I got to see a lot of people, talk to the kids before and after the game, and met Josh Joyce's parents and his grandmother. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. They lost by 2. Josh had a contested layup at the end that didn't go, and they lost. And I had a little. Chip and I talked after the game about my thoughts and his thoughts and so forth. And
I saw you wrote something about that, and kind of let Josh Joyce create towards the end of the game. Let him try and make a play for you.
Basically, and this goes for any team, and don't go off script. I mean, don't if You got a guy who, is not an offensive threat or a guy who averages 6-7 points a game, and then with 2 minutes left, it's like, I'm going to take the ball off the dribble and try to create. No. Get it to the guy, do the LeBron James offense. They've got a lot of nice pieces there. They got a good club. I like the kids on that team. But you got to just put it in the hands of your guy at the end of the game. Now, if you're Central, you try to do that Brett Hansen, but you don't really have to. You've got Joey Martin and John Martin and Dawson. But when you're a team like Guilford or Newport or teams like that or Wilton or Campbell where you've got like your guy, you just got to just go to that guy at the end because Josh is a good passer. He made a nice pass to Caleb Wharton for a hoop, which is a go-ahead. He'll make plays, but I thought that hurt him at the end of the game. Prospect Mountain, Tom Boudreau is, I'll tell you, this is going to make you laugh. Tom Boudreau is doing a really nice job at Prospect Mountain. He brought them the finals a few years ago. He's got a nice team. They play hard. He walked by me at the end of the game, and he had a big smile on his face, and he put out his hand. He goes, "Sorry to do that to your alma mater." I said, "No, you're not." So good for him. He should have stuck it right to me like he did. So he's doing a really nice job over there. Really nice job. So I want to give Tom Boudreau a shout out. He's doing a great job.
Speaking of alma maters, how about my Nashua South Purple Panthers?
Who's next? Actually, that's going to be a fun game against Winnicott. I was disappointed that didn't get played, but I don't know makeup-wise what's going on next, but that's a fun game, South and Winnicott.
Yeah, I mean, you had to think at the beginning of the year, South opens up with a win in Rochester against Spalding, 67-57. This kid, Yordi Tavares, with 28 points, I think, in that game. He's been over 20.
He's been tremendous.
Every single game, including all 3 games in the Chick-fil-A Holiday Tournament. MVP of that tournament. This was a kid that played as a freshman.
I remember.
And he was a starter as a sophomore.
Yeah.
And then he didn't play last year, and no one even thought about it.
I forgot
because
that
you
he
had
didn't
Tim
play.
Preston, you had Jack Preston, you had Dave Dunham, you had Trevor Knight, you had a solid team.
Yeah.
And now
the Osier kid?
Yep, Dan Osier. Yeah, I saw him at the holiday tournament as well. He was kind of like helping with that tournament and running it. And Nashua South, they're 2-0 in Division I play. They won all 3 games in that tournament, and they beat Alvern in the championship game on a last-second basket by Knight, who I love. And I'll tell you what, I when I was at one of those games in the holiday tournament, Trevor Knight got like popped in the nose. I don't know if it was by a punch, not a intentional punch, but like an elbow or something like that, or the ball hit him in the nose or something, or he just crashed into the ground face first. But his nose was bleeding. I never saw more blood. It was just like 20 minutes, and it was like paper towels.
You never got hit in hoop? I've been hit in the nose. It's like an explosion.
It was unbelievable.
The nose
and this is a funny story. So I'm sitting like just a couple of rows behind the south bench, Nate Mazerol, and Trevor Knight's like trying to stop the blood. He looks up, he sees me, and he like waves with his fist. I'm like, dude, you're gushing blood, and you're like waving to me. My kid was all freaked out, like, Daddy, what's wrong? I'm like, he's got a bloody nose, and it was just pouring out.
I know.
And he just like looks up at me because of this smile and waves. I'm like, what are you?
He's
crazy?
great. He's a football player. Hey, basketball players are tough too. Yeah, no, he's a great kid. I'm excited to watch his career starting next year. At UNH and so forth, with the red shots or not. It's gonna be fun.
As I was watching, I don't know what bowl it was. It was I think
Pinstripe Bowl?
No, not the Pinstripe Bowl. But congratulations, Notre Dame,
Thank
for
you
winning
very
that.
much. Can't believe we had to wait that long to hear that. Thank you.
Was Oklahoma against Alabama, the Sugar Bowl. And what's the quarterback's name of the Oklahoma Sooners?
Oh, God, they beat us this year. I should know this.
Trevor Knight. Trevor Knight.
Oh, they used to have Blake Bell. Used to be the guy. Trevor Knight, that's right.
He's the quarterback of the Oklahoma Sooners. And as I was watching that, I don't know who won that game. I know Oklahoma was winning.
Oklahoma won.
They did.
Yeah, they beat Alabama. How does Alabama look that bad? Look at I'm using my Jerry Seinfeld screaming
motivation.
Voice. How did they look that bad after killing Notre Dame last year? God,
motivation, dude. They weren't playing for a national championship. They didn't care as much. It was a letdown factor.
They can't lose enough. I love it.
And
I can't. I love it when Alabama loses.
So when I was watching that game, I was thinking, hey, wouldn't it be cool a few years down the line to see Trevor Knight from Nashua out there playing quarterback in a major bowl game? Not going to happen if he's at UNH.
No.
but
James Caparell could transfer out. He could be. Ryan Minette could be out there running back punts for somebody. You never know. Ryan Minette had a good year, by the way, at St. A's.
He did.
Return punts. Yeah, he was ranked, I think, in the top 40 in the entire nation, and punt returns as a freshman. So there you go. Little football. See,
this is the type of stuff that happens when everybody gets snowed out, except for 4 games around the state. We did get another
agenda-free Saturday.
We did get another below zero update.
Yeah.
Who was that? Trevor Howard?
Trevor Howard, minus 19. So it's getting warmer because Paul Greenlaw said it was minus 21. So it's warming up. The sun's coming up there. Littleton's going to play Pittsburgh Canaan tonight. They rescheduled that one. So
we'll check in on the temperature check in Exeter in just a couple of minutes. We got Jeff Holmes from Exeter going to join us next. It is the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show, News Radio 610 and 96.7. Oh, you really got me in the mood to talk some Exeter High School basketball. It is the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show. I'm on in 2014, early in the season. Pete Terrier, along with Dave Haley, nhsportspage.com. We do it each and every Saturday morning between 8 and 9 a.m. on 2 fine stations here in New Hampshire. The legendary WGIR AM 610 in and around Manchester, and then the signal on the Seacoast, booming into Exeter, booming into Rochester and Hampton and Portsmouth. 96.7 News Radio 96.7. Our next guest on the program is the head coach of the Exeter Blue Hawks, Jeff Holmes. Coach Holmes, good morning to you. Happy Saturday.
Oh, good to be here.
So we're trying to get a sense of what the temperature is all around the state. I think what the low point was like 21 below in Colebrook or something, or Littleton. Do you know what it is in Exeter?
I don't, but I know it's cold.
So you guys were supposed to play Trinity last night. They moved the game to this afternoon. It is a 5 o'clock tip-off at your place, right, this afternoon?
Yes, yep. It was postponed until 3:30 JV, 5 o'clock varsity today.
So you got a chance to see them, I'm sure, at the Queen City Invitational. You guys didn't play each other. You made it to the championship game and fell to Central, but did you get a chance to check out the Pioneers just to get an early scouting report?
Yeah, I did see them play. They're a very talented team. You got a lot of veteran players from their state championship team, and it will be a real tough test for us, but we're looking forward to it.
You've got a good mix, I think, Coach Holmes, of veteran guys. No, I think you have 7 seniors, and then you've got kids like Ben Sweat and your son Bryant, who young sophomores who are really highly thought of. And it's sort of this time of year kind of trying to figure out what works well, what mixes and so forth. I know a lot of people say, well, the holiday terms, they don't count, but it's also a time when you guys can kind of look at combinations and put different combinations out on the floor and kind of see what works, what clicks.
Yeah, no question. This year I do have a real veteran team. I got 7 seniors, and all those seniors play. I got some young guys trying to fight for a minute. So we have had real competitive practices, and it's been good. And we do have pretty good depth this year.
Looking at the scores, you played 2 games in the regular season before Christmas, beating Manchester West on the road 83-49. You beat Dover, a team that we talked about earlier in the show, a team that's struggling so far this year, a real young team, real inexperienced. You beat them 81-32. So the theme there is you guys are scoring a lot of points this year. I know it changed a little bit in the tournament. I saw you guys play against Bedford. That was kind of a grinded out type of affair that you're used to seeing with a team from Exeter. But do you guys expect to have the ability to score a lot of points this year and maybe be over 60, 70 points per game?
Yeah, we try. I think that's a strength of our team is I got guys who can run and I got guys who can shoot. So we like the up-tempo game. We try to press. We try to push the tempo. Because I think that's a good way to use our strengths. Because like I said, I have 5 or 6 guys who can light it up from the outside.
When I was there last year in the quarterfinals, when you guys you'd made the quarterfinals, you beat Merrimack, and then you the defending champs, and then you lost a good game to Spalding. And I was sitting with Jay McKenna from Winnicott and watching you guys play, and he said, this kid, Zach Haller, he goes, he's just like, I think he used the word crafty. He said, this kid's always coming up with some shot out of nowhere when you really need it. He comes up with a big steal in an unorthodox way. And then I watched the entire game, and he made 4 or 5 of those kind of plays. And he's just a kid I really like watching a lot, and kind of talk about what he brings to your team as your senior point guard.
Yeah, Zach's is really a great player. For us, he's a senior. He's a leader. He's worked really hard. He's improved his strength and quickness, and he's gone. He's probably our quickest guy. He can get to the basket. He's really deceptive. Very smart player. I've been really pleased with his progression.
And is he the last of the Holler boys? Because James and then Brad. And now Zach. Is there another one waiting in the wings?
No, Zach's the last of the Holler Ballers.
The Holler Ballers, gotta love it. I want to ask you about your big man, Max Medley. He is a kid that, last time I saw him, he was trying to tackle Alec Boucher from Winnicott.
Trying to catch him.
Defensive back for Bill Ball's football team. What kind of basketball player has Max turned into this his senior year? I know he had another big guy, Soul, last year, that kind of a twin tower situation. Is he your traditional big man where he's going to be on the block, or is he like so many big men nowadays where they're out there on the wing and trying to handle the ball and trying to shoot threes?
No, Max's strength is in the paint. He's trying to get him to be a traditional big guy, work on his low post moves, and he's a very good player. His strength is his rebounding, his shot blocking, be able to run the floor, inside scoring. He's got a high motor. He's a very good athlete at 6'6", and he can really run and defend, and he likes to mix it up.
Okay, so I think people hear Pete and I talk about Central Trinity is the best rivalry in Division I ad nauseum. I understand that. And I remember years ago talking to one of your great players who've come through there, Chris Petsy, and he looked at me and said, no. Exeter Winnicott is the best rivalry in Division I basketball. Make the case now for that Exeter Winnicott game. I've never seen it. Pete and I have obviously seen it in football a couple of times, but I've never seen it in basketball. Is it as crazy in basketball as it is in football?
Yeah, I think ever since it used to be, we were supposed to have those both old small gyms, and not many people could come. And there's always people all waiting outside who couldn't get in. But the last 7-8 years, when we both schools have got these brand new, beautiful gyms that hold, 1,500. We've packed the place, and we've had, the last few years we've had, great games. Last year's game was an overtime game that we were down like 20 points and came back and ended up beating them. So and both teams are pretty good this year, so it should be a good game this year. But it's always a big rivalry.
That's Jeff Holmes from Exeter joining us on the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show every Saturday morning live on the radio, News Radio 610 and 96.7 out there on the Seacoast. Jeff's team going to play Trinity this afternoon at 5 o'clock, game that was supposed to be played last night. They moved it ahead to today, conflicting, of course, with NFL playoffs and my date night with my wife, so I can't go see the game, unfortunately. But I want to go back to the Queen City Holiday Tournament you guys participated in, lost in the finals. You beat Bedford, then you beat Merrimack. Let's talk about that game against Merrimack first. I lost a bet, actually. I had Merrimack in that game, a little friendly wager, just thinking that they had really the 3 best players on the court, Eric Gendron, the kid Shane Burke, and I thought Austin Franzen. And I think you guys are real solid, kind of top to bottom of your roster, but I gave Merrimack the edge in that game. Now, it goes to prove the long-known point that talent doesn't necessarily beat, or individual talent doesn't necessarily beat a solid team. And I think that's what you guys have, is a real solid team top to bottom. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I do. We do have like I said, we have 7 seniors, and they've all worked really hard to improve their game where, they'll all play, and, who's ever hot will, step up. It's kind of, our philosophy is we're not worried about, what individual does what, because I know we have a lot of guys that together as a team that can come together.
Coach, let's talk about your son. I know that as a father of two young boys who have just started playing sports and not necessarily on teams or anything like that. They're 5 and 3 years old, but your son Bryant has been around basketball. I know you got a very athletic family. Your daughter was a tremendous athlete at Exeter High School. You yourself, playing Division I college basketball. I think you were the all-time leading scorer at Keene until not Lupa. Who broke your record at Keene a few years?
Pat Leptowski.
All right, Leptowski. That's right. I knew it was a coach's son. Just wrong coach. When did you know that Bryant was good enough to be playing varsity basketball? Did you know that at a real young age? Did you kind of have to hold off your enthusiasm for it because you're the coach?
No, I mean, he's always loved basketball because, basically, I've been around it so much. He's been around it so much. He's always had a good skill set. I just thought this year, he had, sophomore year, he had a good summer for us, and, we thought he was ready this year.
All right, Coach. Well, we really appreciate the time, and have fun this afternoon. Do you think that's kind of a weird time to be playing a game, 5 o'clock on a Saturday, or is it really doesn't matter because because
it's weird to Pete.
Well, no, but I mean, kids are used to playing at night, 7 o'clock at night, Tuesday, Friday, and now with the holidays, you're playing games at odd times, and is it hard to get kids up for these strange tip times?
No, I don't think the kids just want to play. I mean, I told our kids are going to like our next 7 days because we have 4 games in 7 days.
That's true. That's true.
So, they're going to like it. The practices will be easier, and we get to play a lot of games. So, this time of year, the kids are ready to play.
All right, Coach. Well, we appreciate the time, and we'll see you soon. We'll see you soon at one of these games.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, Jeff Holmes, head coach of the Exeter Blue Hawks. Love talking to him. I didn't even get a chance to ask him about the Patino thing.
No, we did last year. I feel like we beat it to death. No, didn't we talk about Patino recruited him at BU? He hates talking about it. That's why I like bringing it up, because I kind of like teasing him about it. But
so he was recruited to play at BU when Patino was there.
Yeah, and then Patino left, and then he went to Maine. He had 8 3-pointers against Michigan State. I thought it was Michigan, but against Michigan State in a game up in Maine, he had 8 3-pointers in one game. So
yeah.
he can shoot a little bit.
Yeah.
Boy, his kid's got a nice stroke, Bryant. I had never seen him. I'd heard about him. I've asked Jeff about him for years. And then I finally saw him. He hit a little elbow jumper coming off a screen. Max Medley just sets a ton of really good screens up there, and he's just nice, smooth, nice release. Yeah, his kid's gonna be good. His kid could score. He could score more than he's scoring on this team, but with 7 seniors, I think Jeff is making sure the seniors all get equal minutes.
Yeah,
Not
he's
equal,
a sophomore.
Yeah.
Bryant's only a sophomore.
Exeter, and this is the way Jeff's always been with his kids. Exeter is very much like the older kids play. That's sort of how it is over there.
Yeah.
So
he's got a great system. Beautiful facility. He mentioned that in the Winnicott, the new Exeter High School.
Oh yeah,
great facilities over there.
And I wrote about this in the Holiday Thoughts column I wrote this week. Jeff runs great sets, and in the half court offense, he runs some really, really nicely designed plays. And when you got 7 seniors, those kids know exactly how to run them. You know what I mean? They know them like the back of their hand. So they're a fun team to watch. I think they've got a very, very, very good chance to be at UNH in the Final Four in March.
I definitely have them as a top 4 team.
Yeah.
I mentioned that Merrimack Exeter thing. I had Merrimack 3 and Exeter 4. I'll probably obviously have to shuffle that and knock Merrimack down 1, and then
I think I had
Exeter.
them 6. I had Bedford 5 and BG 4 in my preseason.
Yeah,
I'm not going to scramble my preseason after 2 games, but they're going to be right there. And the thing too is, I was talking to Rob McLaughlin from Salem at the coaches clinic, and it's like Salem is the 2 seed and Dover is the 15 2 years ago, and Dover beats them. Last year, Salem is the 14 or something, and Nashua North was the 3, whatever it was, or maybe it was 4, and they almost beat South and went to overtime. Those first round games in Division I are just battles. I mean, there are not many blowouts. I mean, they are battles. So, wherever they finish this year, it's still going to be a battle all the way. That's coach speak when they say that. It's the truth in Division I. I mean, in Division III, honestly, you see a lot of blowouts in the first round. Division I, no way. I mean, you know this. Those games are great.
The 1-16 is usually a blowout.
Remember Spalding went to the Final Four, but they had to beat West on a buzzer beater, in the first round, and I think in overtime. So, I mean, great game. So I guess my point is, how they all end up, it won't matter that much. You gotta win once you're there.
This has been a choppy start to the season as far as
Yeah.
amount of games being played, but now we're in the teeth of it. I mean, Coach Holmes just mentioned they got 3 games this week. They got a game on Monday against Keene. They got to go to BG on Wednesday, and then they got Central on Friday.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the travel is not too bad for them. They don't have to travel to Keene. That's a home game, and the Central game's a home game. But, I mean, it's a busy week. And then the regular season is over before the end of February.
Yeah.
So they're playing a ton of games. Exeter has played 2 games so far. So now they got to play, what do they play, 18 games?
Yep.
They got to play 16 games in the next 2 months.
Yeah.
That's a lot of basketball.
Yeah.
We got to take a timeout, come back. We'll wrap up the show. It is the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show. Pete Terrier, along with Dave Haley, NHSportsPage.com. And it's on News Radio 610 and 96.7. By special request from Dave Haley's daughter, Allison, a little Taylor Swift for you. When you were looking for Winger, Jen Wells, our producer,
You want to talk about
coming
the opposite
through for your daughter.
Jeez.
You should be happy. I actually like me some Taylor Swift. I think so. Her music is
music
pretty
or-
good,
yeah.
and I like her for obvious reasons. If
Yeah.
you've ever seen her,
There you go.
A beautiful young lady. It is the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show, heading up towards the top of the hour, 9 o'clock. Hard to do a 1-hour show. Imagine if we had to do 2 hours today, having basically no games last night. What was that kid's name? That was the star of the show, the 20, Corey Gadwa.
Corey Gadwa. This has been the Corey Gadwa Hour. Groveton, freshman, 26 points. We can't even get on my own website because the computer in front of me is not working. So talk about the right weekend for that to happen. By the way, if I had 50 scores to do and that had been out, then
Do you still
I would
have
have pulled a Bill O'Reilly. We'll do it live. Screaming.
Well, according to the NHIAA scoreboard, we'll go over those one more time. There was only 4 games played last night. Profile beat Gorham 42-36, and they were all pretty much in the North Country.
I know, and Paul Greenlaw is going to get me stats, but I can't read it because I can't get to my own website.
You got Hopkinton
Sorry,
70-41 over Bow, Division III matchup. Division IV Groveton all over Lisbon 64-35. Corey Gadwa doing the job there. And then Buddy Trask, don't call my team good. Colebrook 49, White Mountains 41.
He yelled at me about that.
And there was one game that actually almost started. Dover and Bishop Girton
Yes.
out there on the seacoast, but there was some kind of leak coming down through the ceiling.
Do we have the JV score that we can report?
No, they didn't
somewhere?
even finish the JV game. I guess it was called with 4 minutes left.
God, I mean, talk about the last night you want to be the AD, you know what I mean, at that school. You just got to be so humiliated.
Well, look at some of the games that were canceled. I mean, Nashua South at Winnicott would have been a great game.
Yeah.
We talked with Jeff Holmes from Exeter about that Trinity-Exeter game, which is now today at 5. The other game that really stood out to me was on the Seacoast. Portsmouth, no, that was actually in Pembroke, supposed to be. Portsmouth and Pembroke. I mean, you mentioned during the break about the defense that Portsmouth can play. They held Winnicott to, what, 32 points or something like that in the holiday tournament?
36-32. Richie Ruffin and Sam Nolmeyer each didn't get to double figures. So they defensively are very, very good. They just got to get scoring. If they can get scoring, like Attapack, Lynn, Donovan Fenor, and Devon Wilson Miles. Are we playing more Taylor Swift? What's going on in the control room? My daughter's in there.
Jen has turned Allison into a co-producer of the show, and I just heard 2 minutes, and that was Allison that said that. It's telling us we had 2 minutes left in the show. Next thing you know, she'll be like, on the field in an NFL game saying, 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty against whoever.
You know what? I drag her out of bed when it's minus 5 degrees out to get here in time, so she deserves it, whatever fun she can have in the control room.
And she brought munchkins this morning, so...
Yeah, she bought them, right? That was her. No, but there are a lot, and that's the thing with Portsmouth, too, is... I'll ask you right now, do you think it's just a one-team race? Do you think anyone's going to beat Pembroke in the playoffs?
No. I think Pembroke is very good.
I do too.
I think they're very good, and they're going to be better. And they didn't get those 2 big kids, Rob Wilson from Londonderry.
Yeah.
They didn't approve. The NHIA didn't,
Is it still appealing though?
No, it's over.
Oh, it's over.
I talked to.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't remember if I talked to Alosa.
Bugsy
It was actually Jamie Timbus, who's the father of Dominic and Dante Timbus.
Friend of the show, I think we can say. Great guy.
Friend of the program, great guy. Got 2 real good sons. Although I haven't seen Dante play, but I know Dominic is
I'm going to guess Dante's pretty good too. Yeah.
And he's a freshman, and Dominic is a junior this year. But he said that they're not going to be able to play. Rob Wilson and the kid Prizzuti. Adam Prizzuti.
Max Kern's playing well for him. I hear something weird, and I feel like I'm passing out or something because I hear something weird in my ear right now.
That's the 30-second countdown. All right, this is the part of the program where we thank people. John Kesty, nhsportspage.com. Going to have the video of the show up at some point tomorrow. For Dave Haley at nhsportspage.com. The co-producer, Allison. And then, of course, Jen Wells. My name's Pete Terrier. Have a good rest of the long weekend, everybody.